Let him say it now. I'm not opposing his saying. Your Lordship is permitted to say it. If you are so much for free speech, courage of your convictions, this is a rotten party, I can't say. Resign and contest. Recontest. What is the problem?
Say that till yesterday you were together, today you are not together is not after Rameshwar Prasad the mandate of the governor at all, because that amounts to getting into the ethicality and the correctness of who should be with whom.
Leader refers to the person who is designated by the party.
By the legislature. A member can only be the leader of the legislature party. That's what I read. No one else other than a member of the
No, but
legislature.
see the definition of leader. It's very clear. It is designated by it. It means by the legislature.
Yes,
The political party.
Political party.
Singhvi completes.
Then you see
There are some issues which I as a governor cannot deal with. My friend will deal.
That would be a sore rejoinder. Let him say it now. I'm not opposing his saying. Your Lordship is permitted to say it.
No, after dealing with your
he may be wanting to reflect on it for a couple of minutes. That's all.
Specifically, the issue of legislators withdrawing support is taken care of. Bomai was a case of two parties merging and then a few MLAs withdrawing support. It is specifically said in para 119, in this connection, it is necessary to stress that in all cases where the support of the ministry claimed is to have been withdrawn by some legislatures, the proper course for the testing the strength of the ministry is holding the test on the floor of the House. The only argument that I am seeking to make, my lords, that this is a flawed argument from the other side, as if there is an alternative mandatory mechanism provided. Under the Constitution, there is no alternative mandatory mechanism provided to say that this should have been done and not that. When a governor looks at a position where MLAs come forward and say we are withdrawing support, to say that till yesterday you were together, today you are not together is not after Rameshwar Prasad the mandate of the governor at all, because that amounts to getting into the ethicality and the correctness of who should be with whom. Just testing the proposition, the BJP and the Shiv Sena were pre-poll alliance. Now someone could say post-poll, wasn't it unethical that for 30 years you were together and you ditched and went with someone else? I'm not getting, now that's not the governor's domain. Okay. All that the governor sees is, the governor sees is, do you have the majority or not, close it on the floor of the
you have cited. Then what is?
Secondly, my lords, specifically deals with Article 179, subclause C and removal. It is absolutely incorrect to say that NABAM does not deal with removal at all. Para 191, 233 to 235 specifically deals with Article 179, subclause C and removal. Thirdly, my lords, because this whole argument of intention to remove, actual removal, Justice Mishra deals with it and says, you will not wait till the date when the resolution is moved. The moment an expression of interest is given, an expression of interest is bound to be by way of a notice. The moment that notice is given is when the clock starts ticking, because between the intention expressed to remove and the actual resolution being moved, you can actually alter the composition. So that's dealt with, my lords, there. Lastly, my lords, this whole, just two arguments. Form 1, what I had mentioned, my lords, was when your lordships had asked me in that context, that is any post mentioned? There is no post mentioned there. So the purpose of what I wanted to say to your lordships, maybe I should have made myself clearer, is that under Rule 3, just show me Rule 3, that where designations are given, where it says a statement in writing containing the names of members of such legislature party together with other particulars regarding such members as in Form 1, and the names and designations of members of such party who have been authorized for communicating with the speaker is given by the leader of the legislature party. And if your lordships were to have Form 1, it is just have Form 1 for a minute. Page.
It's furnished by the leader of the legislative party.
Yes. And then it says name of the corresponding political party. So and then lastly, my learned friend made an argument. Please come to that party in the beginning. Please see that party. Well, let's please see how is it being read. Firstly, please have G, 2G for a minute. My lords have
Doctor.
2G.
Yes.
Member means a member of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. Then F says Leader in relation to a legislature party means a member of the party chosen by it as its leader, and includes any other member of the party authorized by the party to act in the absence of the leader as or discharge of the functions of the leader of the party for purposes of these rules. My learned friend wants your lordships to read this, devotes the rules and say it means political party. And now please have rule 3 for a minute. Subclause 5, just have rule.
Leader refers to the person who is designated by the party.
By the legislature. A member can only be the leader of the legislature party. That's what I read. No one else other than a member of the
No, but
legislature.
see the definition of leader. It's very clear. It is designated by it. It means by the legislative.
Yes,
The political party.
Political party.
No, it doesn't use the word political. That is your interpretation.
No, but this
No,
is very clear. This is
Yes.
very clear. Just read the rule.
Yes, the rule
Read the
is
definition.
In relation to a legislative party means a member of the party chosen
Yes.
By it.
as its
Yes.
leader.
by the party, according to us, here means that it's the MLAs who get together and elect.
No.
Cannot
My
be
lord-
said
The party means chosen by
My lord,
it
please
means
see.
by the political
No,
party.
Manoj, please see what 2B
And see
says.
the word which says and includes, that makes it even more clear.
Manoj, may I?
And includes. Just read and includes.
Yes.
And including.
I'll just read that.
But let me, Malas, come to my first. Let me stick to my sequence. Just an aside, Malas, all that was done in the last 10 minutes was reference to everything but the whip. The only issue relevant is whip. Your lordship would be asked to turn parliamentary and party-based democracy on its head if you were told that whip is not issued by the political party. What your lordship has shown just now is totally irrelevant and red herring, because it is intimating to the speaker and the house that in this house, my leader is so-and-so. That is a communication between those in the house communicating with the speaker. Speaker has to know whom to communicate with. It is no communication of the party with its members. That's the whip. And that the party issues, the party decides. But that follows apart. We'll come to those rules. So this is completely irrelevant. It cannot be anybody's case that in the context of a whip, the party, the political party is to be ignored and the legislative party is to be looked at. Now, but leave that aside. Let me go in my own sequence first. I'll repeatedly fallen from your lordships. And yesterday it fell directly from my Lord Justice Narasimha. That your lordship is concerned about democracy, majority becoming less, or your lordship use the word overwhelming numbers going this way or that way. This is correct with that. Mr. Sibbal has answered in one way. I'm now giving your lordship a different facet. Well, my submission is that your lordship has to go back to the origins of the 10th schedule. And first point under this head is that the 10th schedule has two components, not only one. One is a prohibitory negative code. It's a negative code. So a negative code is what you should not do. Violate, whip, voluntary resignation, cohabiting with other people, etc. But there is also an affirmative, positive part of that code. And what the 10th schedule does is to strike a balance between the negative and the positive by a constitutional amendment. It is my respectful submission that it is vital for your lordships to give effect to both negative and positive in letter and spirit. Because your lordship is actually implementing the constitution. And some of the arguments of the other side have bordered on suggesting that a mere, I'm using the word mere advisedly in comparison to a constitutional text, a mere symbols order will be competing with a constitutional text. That would be completely anathema to all known principles. What are these two codes, Balas? The negative code is that you, in a nutshell, I'm just saying, in a nutshell, I'm oversimplifying. You will not voluntarily give up membership to an A and you will not violate whips to 1B. Just in a broad summary. What is the affirmative permissible activity? You are entitled to dissent only within that permissible zone. Otherwise, why enact the 10th schedule, Malas? Prior to 85, you didn't have the 10th schedule. You had Jungle Raj, which you called Ayaram Gayaram sometimes, but then you can also justify that in the name of free speech, free action. What you did here was you allowed a zone of activity, permissible, affirmative, but you cannot say that I will go beyond that permissible and thereby violate indirectly the negative code also. What is that permissible activity? The affirmative code of conduct. One is a faction or a split till the 91st Amendment. They gave you an escape route, advisedly, consciously. That has gone. It was there. So much as the constitutional framers thought that along with a negative code of conduct, so as not to stifle you completely, we give you an escape route, exit route of faction or 1/3 or whatever it was called. Second, merger. Third, and this is actually the most important part of 10th schedule, elections barring a few cases, in the days of 1960s, etc. There used to be a very strong, large number of independents. Third balance.
Third point is what? What is the point?
One is
split is permissible. Merger
second
is
is merger.
permissible.
Third now.
What's the third point?
Third comes with the light of what I said just now. The whole idea of the 10th schedule is resign and recontest. That's what is stopping you from doing. You enter the door through this door and then you retain your ministership and seat while exiting through the other door. Sorry, not permissible. Resign, have the courage of your conviction. Now, you are a very vocal freedom speaker. You have the courage of your conviction.
Which Justice Jeevan Reddy referred to in that extract.
I'll be dealing with some of
It
that.
was not in the context of the 10th schedule.
But I'll be dealing with that. Some judgments have referred to it. I'm going to suggest it because this is the core question my Lord Narasimha asked, my Lords asked earlier. What do we do when an overwhelming set of people want to express dissent? 9/10, let's say 9 out of 10. Let's take an extreme example. How do we balance and countervail these two competing balances? The 10th schedule says you can go thus far in balancing, not further. Whereas if you are so much for free speech, courage of your convictions, this is a rotten party, I can't say, resign and contest. Recontest, what is the problem? Then the fourth is the exemptions. Apart from merger, there's the exemption clause, condonation, whatever. All that is given there. Now what we have to see is that if a constitutional amendment balances the prohibitory with the affirmative part, you cannot find an excuse to circumvent the prohibitory part by going beyond the 4 avenues of the affirmative part. Now only 3. Action is gone.